This is Susana Magenheimer, Random Artist 222, and today I'm doing a video for Shawn Petite's creative design team called Crash the Stash. And basically, it's a video where you're just watching me do some art and where I'm using products that I haven't touched in a while and want to incorporate into my art again. So I've chosen redesigned chalk paste that Shawn had me fall in love with. So I bought a few colors. This one's Gravel that I'll be using. It's a really pretty soft gray, you'll see. I'm also using an assortment of collage packs from Shawn Petite's stash. This is going to be a frame I'm using to incorporate the owl that I'm going to be making. And all these are available either in her free section or in her collage pack sections, and they're wonderful. I'm also using Shawn Petite's Woodland Creatures Owl Collection, and in particular this owl here, the small one. I'm also using one of her minis, and also, just as a reminder, always make sure you have a map of what you're doing so that when you go to paste all the pieces of paper together, you kind of know where you had it and what you want to do with it. So with that being said, I'm going to first off talk about my owl that you see here. And let me put it against this. Like that. So this is the owl that I'm going to be incorporating, and it's very hard to see, but I did a little bit of modeling paste on the face and on the wing, and these little feathers that you see here are just feathers that I glued on from a die cut that I have. This one here in particular, from Sherry Lynn's designs, and it's these teeny tiny feathers that you can fold and do things with and make really beautiful, that I thought would incorporate really nicely to the owl. So, but before I got to this point, what I basically did was take a piece of nice hard paper and put it underneath, and I used a pencil and basically, for all intents and purposes, outlined it. After I outlined it, I also outlined the face. Because the face is what I incorporated here to make this color the way it is, a little bit different. Then what I did is, as you can see here, I showed earlier the collage packs. I used the crackle paste, or the crackle effect, collage piece of paper that Shawn carries to create I kind of wanted it kind of feeling like a piece of stonework, and I felt that incorporated beautifully into that. Once I did that and went back over the glued down stencil, I basically went over it one time with some modeling paste very gently, which I don't think I need to bore you with here, so I'm not doing it. But that just outlined the wings is what I wanted. I didn't want it to go over these feathers, and as well as the face. Once I finished this, I used Liquitex Matte Medium, and I sealed it, because later on, I want to go through and color it up with these Big Brush markers and create my owl effect colors. Okay, so that's basically how I got the owl. And let me put this aside. So again, I didn't want to bore you with gluing things down, but as you can see in the background, I took all the pieces of paper that were in my template that I showed you earlier, and I glued them all down. And then I started adding texture. And I did that with the chalk paste. And I'll show you a little bit right here. See how beautiful this color is? See how pretty that is? It's a really light gray. So there are two ways to do this. One is take these. The little miniatures are perfect for this. I'm going to dump that in there. And I'm just going to start putting it in there and pulling some of it back like that. So then when I pull it up, I have instant texture. See that? I can just clean that up with my finger. So let me clean my stencil up. You always want to make sure you clean your stencils. And I usually clean it on a piece of paper so that I have another project to work off of. Oh, and the other thing you might want to do is get it all over your hands, is use a little palette knife. Just take a little bit on your palette knife and you just, dabble it like that. Okay. And then after you dabble it on like that, you can take a toothpick and just run it through to give you some more texture. And then you're going to let this sit to dry. And I also painted this using, I should have said I'm using Lucas Studio Acrylics in Naples Yellow, Sand, and in the Burnt Umber from Golden. And I painted this as my background with the Naples Yellow, and you'll see how that gets tamped down when I come back with my antiquing portion of the paint program. Okay, so now that this has dried, and let me show you up close here, all this texture. If you ran your fingers over it, you'd feel it. It's really beautiful. Sorry about some of the light. Okay, so now we're gonna make that pop out. So I'm gonna do a wash of Lucas sand with water. And I don't want to lose all this that I painfully taped on there. So I'm going to be using a handy wipe to wipe it back. So here it goes. So see the difference between how I'm dialing it here and then I'm dialing it back here. Okay, so now it's painted out. I'm going to let it dry. Let me touch this up here. Oops. Okay, let it dry. And I'll continue to color this. I hope you liked what you saw and that it inspired you. Please remember to subscribe and like. It makes a huge difference in how YouTube sees me and lets me go up in the searches with the big kids. And I truly appreciate it. So thank you and have a great day.